And you start looking at, you're like, don't we all know somebody who can eat whatever they want and they never gain any weight? Those are called ectomorphs, because everybody has that person they know that can eat, that you eat 5 times what I do and you never gain an ounce. Those people, so when you start figuring out what it is, what you're eating activates hormones. And so your storage hormone insulin is going to be activated by sugars or carbohydrates, and glucagon is going to be activated more by proteins and amino acids. And so when you start looking at the people who are like the big fat guys who can never lose weight and they go keto, all of a sudden they lose all this weight, it's because you've radically restricted all the insulin function, and all their body has is glucagon to burn fat. And they're eating all this protein so it doesn't damage their muscle tissues. And so that's actually what's going on, is that when you restrict the insulin function, all of a sudden now the body can shift over, instead of burning sugar for fuel, it burns fat for fuel. And that's how that whole thing works, which is also how you fix diabetes. But that's I think the reason why people don't know about it. Because as long as you move yourself from exogenous sugar, where you're eating the sugar, to endogenous sugar, where your body's making the sugar for you,
yes,
it'll reset your insulin receptor sites, and you can then kind of calm down the amount of insulin your body produces, regain control of that. And every time we've done it with type 2 diabetes, we fixed it.
Right. That's the crazy part. I was going to say, you said ectomorph, and I've heard this before. I don't know very much about it, and I'd be curious if you could just do a brief description, because you're talking about different body types, and it's the way they process food, calories, the chemistry of it. So could you take a minute to explain what that is?
Yeah, so the somatotype chart is broken down into, and it's hard because it's not 3 places. It's a spectrum where you're like way over here, and then in the middle-ish, and then way over here. So the ectomorphs guys are the ones who have really hard time gaining any type of weight. Like they can eat whatever they want to. They never gain an ounce. And people are like, that sounds amazing. It's not for the guys, because they can't ever gain muscle mass. And so they're these little scrawny guys all the time. They're like, I eat everything. I can't gain weight. And so you've got those guys. And then you got the guys in the middle. Now the mesomorphs, the guys in the middle, these are the ones where the calories in, calories out thing works really well for, because they're balanced in how their body handles insulin and glucagon. So if you restrict fuel sources at all, they will burn the sugar until they're out of sugar, and then they'll immediately switch over and start burning fat to get them balanced. This is why it was difficult, because nobody in the diet industry ever looked at the ectomorphs, because they didn't come in. And so they didn't have any failures with those guys. The ectomorphs, they cut their calories back, or just their fuel source in general, and all of a sudden they lost weight. The endomorphs, which is the category that I am in, over on the other side, that store really well. Like I get big, easy. Like my body loves insulin, but it's not as sensitive to glucagon. And so we have a really hard time losing weight. If you go by calories, you're never going to get it.